Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. We're coming to you from the Complete Media Network, and joining me as always on a Monday, Jason Cameron. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
I am doing well. I am doing good. Such a beautiful day. Such a
Yeah,
beautiful day. And I am definitely going to enjoy it once we're done here, done our beautiful podcast. So,
nice. Well, I've been out there all day. I had an early tee off time. We were gonna do Father's Day golf, and my dad just said it's always ridiculous trying to get a tee time. Tough on a Sunday, lots going on. So why don't we just push it one day to Monday, and we'll get a tee off time. So I called to book, and they said, okay, we got two tee off times. We've got a 8:50 or we've got a 6:15. So I'm like, all right, 6:15. That sounds good. And then I changed my mind. No, no, 6:15. That's ridiculous. So 8:50. It was gorgeous already. Just smoking hot out there. We played our round in 4 hours, which I was hoping so we could do this. And right, bang on 4 hours it was, and hell of a day, beautiful course. So we played a course called Newlands. It's in Langley. I think I think you might have been on the same production we were on. We filmed out there, in there for a scene in the clubhouse place there. And anyway, yeah, gorgeous course. Played there a couple times with my dad, and really love it.
Yeah, I do. I think I do remember that, but I actually remember Newlands for a different reason for
Okay,
myself.
nice.
That's where I had way back in the day, my high school graduation.
No
That
way.
Newlands golf course. Yeah,
Holy cow. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That's fun.
That's a long time ago. But yes, that's how I remember that place. And it's a really nice golf course, though. Good
Nice.
choice. Good choice.
Do you remember much about that day, that graduation ceremony and all that kind of stuff back there? Do you remember much?
Let's be honest. No, I don't.
Okay. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's a while back. But yeah, no, I'm glad we got out. Golf was pretty huge in my family. My grandfather on my dad's side played it a lot. My dad, his sister especially, my uncle and my aunt, they live down in North Carolina, and they play a ton of golf. And my dad tries to get out as much as he possibly can. So yeah, it's a really good way to bond for Father's Day. And yeah, he was over here. They live over on the island, but he was over here for a few days, so it turned out great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome that you were able to spend that time with your father and get
Yeah,
some rounds of golf in as well
yeah,
for
yeah.
Father's Day.
So we're on Father's Day, Boxing Day. Yeah, lots of great things happening over the weekend. I heard you went on a picnic. How was that?
Picnic was fantastic. It's so good to have fried chicken
Nice.
and for your picnic and have a couple drinks. And then yeah, it was good, and it was such a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Um, the dogs were always coming sniffing around because they could smell the chicken as well. So they
Yeah.
just run through. That's all good. It's all good. It was a lot of fun.
Did you go to some park, or did you go to somebody's house, or?
No, we just went to just down the street from where I live. There's a park called Fraser River Park, and so we
Nice.
just went there. And then at that park, it's like an off-leash dog park as well. So
Okay.
you had a lot of dogs running around and a lot of people there as well. Actually, it was nice.
Cool, cool. I was uh, I was so tired this morning. I shouldn't have said 6:15 right off the bat. I should have just been like immediate 9. I woke up at 20 after 5, and I was like, oh no. And I thought to myself, why do I do this kind of stuff to myself so often? I keep pushing the envelope, staying up later and later and later all the time. And I realized that a few years ago, I realized I have that FOMO really bad, fear of missing out. And I always had that in my whole life. And it's still, I thought I had kind of got a handle on it, but no, It's still there. I still want to stay up really, really late and wake up really early, and I don't want to miss anything. So, I end up feeling super tired. As I was driving all the way from Langley back out here, I was thinking, holy cow, I don't know if I'm going to make this. I might fall asleep on the drive here. This is rough. And yeah, I've been up way, way, way too early for how late I keep staying up.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I can be like that as well. But so what I like to do is, I think what you're going to do for yourself, because literally now you've been up for over 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So now going to bed tonight is going to be easy, even though it's
Right.
super hot and you're going to be sweating, but your body's just going to be like, I don't care. I'm so
Yeah.
tired. Just going to pass out. It's going to be great.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, I'll catch up tonight, I'm sure. Luckily, my place is pretty cool, so I do like that. I heard it's supposed to get crazy hot. Like we're gonna get a heat wave coming through here. There's 40 in the interior, they say, and mid 30s possibly through here. So that's hot for this part of the world.
Yes, it is. It is very hot. I wasn't actually expecting it to be this hot this soon,
Yeah.
because usually we have our hot times in like the month of July and August and stuff. Not usually June. June's not
Oh,
usually this hot
yeah.
this soon. So I'm a little bit surprised, but I've always thought that this summer was going to be nice, and I think it's going to be exceptionally nice now.
Yeah. Well, today is actually the official first day of summer, so happy summer to you. I hope we have a phenomenal one. I didn't enjoy last summer. We had the lockdown and all the restrictions were on. There was no concerts, there was no games. There was really, there was quite a gap between games to watch on TV. And yeah, I didn't enjoy last summer. I sure hope this one's going to be a lot better than last one.
No, I'm sure it will be, because last summer was basically no fun summer. There's no fun here, and there might be no fun forever. That's what it
Yeah.
almost felt like, right? Like
Yeah.
nothing is ever going to come back online. So at least now there's light at the end of the tunnel. We can see that we're getting there. We're
Yeah.
getting there, making a ton of progress, and hopefully in the next couple of months, maybe by the end of the year, maybe we're completely past all of this.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I know we're going to talk a lot about basketball, some big game sevens this weekend. The start of the conference finals are finally here. We're going to talk about the UFC, UFC Vegas 29. Dan Ige, Korean Zombie, lots to break down there. But I do want to touch on the Euro Cup. The world of soccer gets really amped up when the Euro Cup's on. I've been going to games a little bit, watching a ton on TV, absolutely loving it. It's a really amazing tournament. And one of the things that came out of this tournament the other day was Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest players on earth, sat down after a Portugal game at the press conference table, and in front of him was a couple of bottles of Coke, and he just grabbed them and he moved them away from himself, moved them kind of off the table, out of the camera sight. The very next day, Coca-Cola's value dropped $4 billion in value because of that move alone. That is crazy, crazy, crazy power, that a move like that, just not wanting to have them sitting in front of him and move them off to the side, could cause that much of an economic downturn with the stock in Coca-Cola. It's amazing the influence he has.
Apparently, Coke is not one of the sponsors. So that's why he cannot be associated with that stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing how much emphasis he can have on any sort of marketing product. That guy, like that's ridiculous. I did not know that, and that is some real power. So I'm sure Coke had probably reached out to his representatives and said, well, maybe we can make this right. Maybe we can give you money, lots of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very smart. That would be very smart if they can come together, because he has the largest social media following on the planet, larger than the Kardashians, larger than the Jenners, the whoever's out there. He has the largest social media following, and I think people were stunned that it was that much of an influence. That kind of quick movement could change things that rapidly. But I really want to get Cristiano Ronaldo on as a guest and see my influence move up like that. I was able to get one of the Juventus Soccer Central coordinators and one of the guys that runs Juventus Academy in the U.S. Just trying to start putting it together and getting a lot of Juventus guys, and then hopefully Cristiano becomes a guest here, and all of a sudden $4 billion that was lost from Coke can flow my way. I wouldn't mind it.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome because I'd only take 1% of that, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
only 1%. Yeah. And that's all I need. And we'll be good. We'll be good.
You'll get a good percentage. You just gotta bone up on your soccer knowledge a little bit, so you can.
Yeah, that's right. I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Come in and ask them some really good questions that'll make them go, "Oh, okay, I like these guys. I want to keep coming on week after week."
Yeah, that would be great. And yes, you're absolutely right. I would need to know like something about soccer, or sorry, footy. That's what they're calling over there. Footy.
Yeah. I had a great guest on Friday. His name was Barry Grant Jr. He has a podcast called the All Even Podcast. He does it out of New York, and he reached out to us and asked if he could be a guest. Him and I had fantastic conversation about tons of sports. He reminded me a lot of you and his wide knowledge in so many areas of sports. And one of the things that he said reminded me a lot about you was how much he had predicted Miami to go very far in the bubble, and it ended up coming true as they faced the Lakers. And he called the Phoenix Suns the new Miami Heat, the team that's going to be the one that goes this far this year. He said they remind him so much of that Miami team. What about yourself? Do you agree?
Absolutely, 100%. I agree because the one thing that struck me last year with the Miami Heat was just how well they played as a cohesive unit. Like not just one guy or two guys. Like everybody on that team. And then you also had like Tyler Hero come out of nowhere and step up immensely and just step his game up. And then you had your two superstars being in Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler lead the way for everybody else to follow. Like that's just how well they were as a group, as a team. And I see the same thing with the Phoenix Suns. Like I definitely see the same thing with the Phoenix Suns. Like that whole team is playing fantastic. Like even considering for that game one, Paul wasn't playing. Yeah. But I told you then that Cameron Payne would be able to step up.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah, you did. Devon Booker handled the ball a lot more too in Chris Paul's absence. He got his first career triple-double in that game one victory. What a performance. 15 for 29, 40 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. The first playoff triple-double since Steve Nash as a Suns player in 2005. First 40-point triple-double since Charles Barkley way back in 93. And Booker looked just absolutely incredibly phenomenal. Booker's dating one of those Jenners, and there was a lot of talk about how well she did trading up to Devin Booker. He's been in the league 8 years, and he's only 25 years old. Isn't that incredible that he's been around 8 years, finally getting his due, finally getting his chance to be in a really big spotlight conference final, and man, did he ever step up.
Yes, he did. He certainly stepped up. He stepped up in a lot of big ways and a lot of monumental ways, because not only did he actually have to kind of carry the offensive load, he had to make sure that all of his teammates were involved in the offense as well. That was something that he'd usually just make, like Chris Paul would just take that. That would be his job. That would be what he had to do. But this time he had to take that on.
Sure
and
did.
He did it so immaculate. He did it so well.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing, man.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And Yeah, it's just wild to see the remaining playoff teams. The last championship that's won in the four remaining playoff teams is 1971. The Bucks won. 1958, the Hawks won, but they were still in St. Louis then. So it's still that franchise, but not in Atlanta. And the Clippers and the Suns have never won a championship. So um, I mentioned Barry Grant. I'll mention him again. He said it felt like a Twilight Zone season. This is the first time that a number one seed hasn't made the conference finals since 1995 when the Rockets went and won. So bizarre year. I think this regular season was short off season, compacted, lots of COVID issues, lots of injuries. Those teams that were good in the regular season just didn't seem to have it in the playoffs.
You know what? You know what? This whole playoffs, this whole season actually has seemed to me, anyways. It just seems like a war of attrition,
Right.
like for the players. You know what I mean? Like it's just what team can make it to the end with the most amount of their star players still intact.
Right.
Because everybody else is just getting injured. And then obviously you can attribute that to the shortened offseason.
Yeah.
People just didn't have enough reps. And you obviously can attribute to the pandemic, right? And then how that would affect your roster and your lineup for the regular season games, for the playoff games. Just look at what's happened with the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul can't even play.
Yeah.
And we don't know when he's going to be able to come back in the series, actually. Still a question, right? So
Right.
it's it's just that's what it's reminded me of, a war of attrition. Like, because even with the Bucks and Nets, with that series, I'm pretty sure that series is a lot different if the big three are healthy.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, it's gonna go much, much, much different. I loved how much the Suns spread the scoring around. I mentioned Booker, what he had, but DeAndre Ayton had 20 points, 9 rebounds. Bridges had 14. Crowder had 13. Cameron Johnson 12. Cameron Payne had 11 and 9 assists. Torrey Craig at 8. Just great to see that many guys in double figures. Yeah, maybe we should make Devon Booker the point guard all the time, and maybe they don't need Chris Paul. No, I'm just joking, but holy cow, yeah, just great to see him spread the ball around that well and get his 42. And incredible.
It was incredible. But I again, all credit has to go to Chris Paul by like being there and by showing these guys this is how you manage a game, or this is how you manage a game properly. Because he's one of the best at managing a game, especially when it's winning time, right? Yeah. And I think Devin Booker took that and used that to win that game one without their leader,
Yeah, he said he's learned so much from Chris Paul being there and just seeing how he manages the games and how he plays. Obviously, the Clippers, have been doing really well. A lot of teams, or a lot of people were talking about Clippers being, one of the deepest teams, having, really top end talent, being able to. They should go far. They should challenge the top teams in the West. They've been up and down all year, having a lot of troubles there, but coming back from 2-0-2 deficits to be able to reach the conference finals for the first time, pretty remarkable, especially missing Kawhi. Paul George has stepped up really, really, really well and had fantastic games at the end of that Jazz series. And another great performance from him, but they're missing Kawhi, obviously. I don't know. Are they going to be able to make a good series out of this if Kawhi doesn't come back?
Good question. I think they can. Like, as long as Paul George keeps playing as well as he is right now, I think they can make a good go of it. But he needs, like, his Robin. And this is funny for me to say this, but I believe his Robin so far would probably be Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson in that game had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, as well as Paul George, 34 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists.
Yeah.
But Reggie Jackson has been playing awesome.
Really good.
Great, man. He really has. So, like, if those two can keep playing and then have the rest of the team follow their lead, I think they could definitely make a series of this.
Yeah.
No
Okay.
doubt.
Terrence Mann had a phenomenal game 6 in that last series. He had 34 points. No, 39 points he put up in that last game against the Jazz. This game, I don't know, it came back down to earth. Just didn't quite have it. I don't know how a guy could put up 39 and then 9 the next game. It's kind of insane. But another guy that stepped up, and I really wish they would have played him a lot more, was Boogie Cousins. He came out flying. He had 11 points immediately. Had a couple of blocks. He had a few rebounds. He only ended up playing 13 minutes, 11 points. But I really wish they would have played him more.
Yeah, well, he did get into foul trouble, and I think that was what limited him too as well. But I really respect Tyronn Lue, the head coach for the Clippers, because he put Boogie Cousins in there because he saw something with the Suns that spoke to him, that said, you know what, I think he can do damage down low. He was absolutely right, because look at how quickly he scored those points. He put up points in quick.
Immediate, yeah.
So I would expect to see Cousins more in this series, more so than obviously what we saw in the last series, which we didn't see him at all.
Yeah.
When you do lineup matching like that, sometimes you have to look at your assets and see how to take advantage. And I guess Cousins, they're probably going to be using him a lot more in this series than they ever have.
Yeah. LA is 0-5 in the first 2 games of any series throughout this playoff so far. Must be tough on the stress level for Ty Lue and that coaching staff. Down 0-2 twice. No team's ever done it. They better not go down 0-2 to Phoenix. I think they'll be in massive trouble if they're down 0-2 and having to win 4 out of the next 5 against Suns.
Yeah, no, that would be a problem. Like they should look at trying to make a split for sure before they go back to LA, because at some point in time in this series, Chris Paul will be coming back, and on top of that, he will be coming back rested, because he's still probably getting treatment on that shoulder too as well.
Yeah.
So he should be coming back pretty healthy when he does come back to the team.
Okay, so we had a game 7 last night, the Atlanta Hawks and Philadelphia 76ers. Philly's best team in the East during the regular season. Home court advantage. You think they're going to be able to knock off the 5th seeded Hawks. But strangely enough, Trae Young has an off game, and Atlanta still wins this game somehow. Kevin Huerter had a phenomenal game. Really came out of nowhere and shot the lights out. But I was really shocked that Atlanta took this game. What about yourself? How did you feel?
I'm going to be honest, man. The Sixers gave away so many leads in this series.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many times where they should have had the game won. I think it was the one that was really egregious was, what was that? Game 5? I think it was game 5 that they should have definitely won that game. Like, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Like, they should have won that game. That I had my doubts. I really had my doubts on whether they could actually finish the series out. And it did come down to the end. But Young, even though he had an atrocious shooting night, made big baskets coming down the stretch.
Down the stretch, last, yeah. True.
And he showed up. And then for them to even have a chance to win that game, Kevin Huerter had himself a game. He had himself a huge game with 27 points and 7 rebounds, right? And then to supplement that, Gallinari also had a great game as well. 17 points, 5 rebounds. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the Sixers can only blame themselves. They had a chance to make this series so much easier than what it actually ended up being, which was a 7-game series. They could have won this game. They should have actually won this series probably in 5 games.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And then also, too, unfortunately, Ben Simmons was a liability out there on the court after a while.
Jeez.
His atrocious free throw shooting, I think he shot 30% or just a little over 30% from the line.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You can't shoot like that. I don't care who you are. You have to learn how to shoot free throws. You're a point guard.
Yeah.
Like, this is not him being a set. Like, you're a point guard, man. Like, now it's coming to a head that his shooting woes, if it's going to cost your team a chance to like progress in the playoffs,
Yeah.
I don't know. They're going to have to make a change. And I think that change is Simmons going to be out because.
Yeah. Well, the post game press conference, Doc Rivers was asked, "Can you win with this guy?" And he didn't give him a glowing endorsement. He said, "I don't know. We're gonna see. Obviously, we gotta evaluate everything and move forward." But yeah, Simmons, he wouldn't even attempt a dunk when he was right under the hoop because he was worried that somebody's gonna hack him, and he couldn't score at the line. No field goal attempts in the whole fourth quarter. He used to, drive the hoop and be, pretty dangerous. But once they started employing that hack attack and he couldn't sink his free throws, he just got skittish. And Atlanta was able to just take advantage of that severely. I know you and I have talked a lot about him, and he's been widely criticized his whole entire NBA career that he's not really a shooter. He's getting paid $36 million plus per year. You think a guy's gonna know how to shoot free throws, especially? They really got to move forward and make a change there. We talked about Kyle Lowry possibly going there at the trade deadline, and they end up getting George Hill instead, and they decided to go for him, but I think it was a huge mistake, and you're missing out on another year of this process they kept talking about, another year of Embiid being at the top of his game. It was pretty sad to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty sad to watch. Like, there was even a point in the first half where, like, the guys from inside the NBA, they were talking about, like, the Sixers going on transition. And Ben Simmons is dribbling the ball up and then immediately gives it up to Joel Embiid. Like, just gets it out of his hand.
Yeah.
Barkley's absolutely right. It's like, aren't you the point guard? That's your job, is to bring the ball up,
take it all up,
and then make the correct play once you get in the offensive part of the court.
Yeah.
Not just give it up right away. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense. So, I think definitely changes obviously are going to be happening for the Sixers. But this experiment, this thing that they've tried with Embiid and Simmons, I think it's come to an end. I really do.
Yeah, it's too bad. You'd think he would be practicing like crazy, going to the gym every day, but it might not just be physical; it might be mental as well. I think they have to move on. They've got a great scorer in Steph Curry. They've got a lot of pieces. Tobias Harris is a phenomenal second, third option. They've got a lot of great pieces. I see that they're not missing much in the free agent department. They're only going to lose some of the bit players. So we'll see. There's going to be some moves there, I believe so, and we'll see what shakes out. But this makes it Atlanta, Milwaukee. Let's talk about that Milwaukee Nets series. They had a big Game 7 as well. We'll just finish off that. Giannis was huge, 40, 13, and 5 in that 115-111 overtime victory. Middleton was great, 23, 10, and 6. Lopez, 19 and 8. Drew Holiday, very good balanced game, 13, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Really amazing that they were able to knock off the mighty Nets. But you could see Harden was still hurt. Kyrie not there. Kevin Durant, those last two games, it was just phenomenal how great he played. But I think, he ran out of gas, I believe. They just played him over and over and over and over, and he just wasn't able to hit the final shot.
Well, you know what? There's no doubt about KD's greatness. There's no doubting that, right? No. He had some legendary games. At the end of the day, though, he just didn't have enough help. You can't blame any of that stuff on him. That guy played his ass off. And on top of that, Steve Nash had to rely on him. He had to lean on him and say, I'm sorry, Kevin, but you're going to have to play the entire game. No breaks for you.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's like, of course, that's the way it has to be. Like
Mm.
it sucked for the Nets because obviously, if those three guys are healthy, this is a completely different series. We
Yeah.
all know that. But unfortunately, the way it played out was Kyrie was out, Harden was playing on literally one leg, and
Yeah.
even on one leg, which I still don't understand how he does it. I guess he's just that good. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. He almost had a triple double on one freaking leg. That's impressive to me.
Yeah.
That's super impressive to me. And then Kevin Durant, 48 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. But here's the thing. When he made that tying shot,
Yeah.
put it in overtime, if you actually look at his foot placement, if he was 2 inches more, he wins the game.
They won, yeah. They won that.
It would have been
Yeah.
a 3-pointer.
They win that series, yeah. Unbelievable, yeah. It just comes down to his toes. Toes were on the line, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was such a frantic pass, deep pass to him, and he had to launch it. There was 1 second left when it went through the hoop. Yeah, it's so bizarre that, 2 inches, that game's over and they've won the series. It ends up being a 2-pointer, goes into overtime, and Milwaukee wins. It's a game of inches, and he said, obviously God had a plan, and it wasn't for the Nets to win. So, but isn't that insane how close that could have been to a Nets victory?
Yeah, well, it just goes to show, like this is the intensity and the quality that we have in the NBA. That it does come down to inches sometimes, between the greatest players in the sport. But again, I was super impressed with Giannis. Like Giannis just he did what he needed to do, but he stayed true to himself and he listened. Like he was down in the block and he made his living down there.
Yeah.
Drive to the hoop and all that. Like he kept constantly putting pressure on the Nets defense, which is absolutely what he had to do.
Yeah.
That was what he was supposed to do, and he did that. I think he ended up still taking 5 or 6 threes, but he made 2 to 3 of those. So not bad. Yeah. I still believe that the coaching staff should probably limit his attempts to maybe 4 a game. And I mean that. I literally do.
Sure.
Just so that he stays focused on what he's supposed to do.
What he's good at, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's so good at driving the ball and, being able to get down low, post up. He's just so good at so many aspects. He's just, not a good three-point shooter at this point. He can be, but not yet. You look at the game score, the recap, and, you talked about the points, rebounds, assists, but look at that far left column. There's minutes. We got Durant 53, Harris 47. We got Harden 53, Bruce Brown 52. You're like, wow, Nash is just not going to his bench at all. He's running with the guys that are healthy and ready to go, and he just drove him into the ground. But I guess, you got to do what you got to do. It's game 7, and those are the guys that are going to win you the game. They came close, but how do you think Steve Nash did this year?
I think he did spectacular. Like I give him a grade A. Like you got an A. You got an A because having to navigate with those personalities, those 3 guys, having to navigate, Kyrie with his Kyrie stuff, whatever, his mental health issues, trying to help him get through all of that. And on top of that, knowing that with the pressure of this team's got to win because look at the freaking team, right? So having to deal with all of that stuff and just to fall short. And the reason why he fell short was because due to injuries. I give him an A. I give him an A grade because that's what he deserves. And it was fantastic. I thought he did fantastic work.
Nice. Yeah, no, I agree fully. It's got to be tough to come in, no head coaching experience, come in, deal with those personalities, deal with the pressure. The expectations were super high because, 3 of the highest scorers on the planet, 3 of the top 10 players maybe. And just to be able to take them this far. So banged up all year though, man. It's unfortunate for Brooklyn Nets fans and the people that wanted them to go far, it's really sad that that team couldn't be healthy and we could have watched the juggernaut go all the way. It would have been really incredible and fun to watch.
Would have been, yes, it would have been incredible and fun, maybe. But like sometimes when you have a juggernaut of that on that level, then it's like kind of watching when KD with Golden State. It's fun, but when they just crush everybody on their way to winning a championship, you're just like, oh, okay, so nobody actually has a chance. That's
Has a chance. Yeah.
But we'll see though. Like, and I would imagine that obviously the owner's going to keep this team together as much as he can, maybe a couple of tweaks here and there. But if that team can stay healthy, like that's the most important thing. If they can stay healthy and they go back and they do the same thing, they run it back for the playoffs, well then they'd have to be the favorites to win.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Yeah, it's funny how both Brooklyn and Philly got knocked out this weekend, but changes probably not happening much in Brooklyn, but big changes happening in Philly, and we'll see how it goes. So, what are you thinking? What are we going to see if Milwaukee landed? Do you think Milwaukee's going to walk over them? Do you think they're going to win it in 5, something like that, or do you think this is going to be a long series?
It has the potential to be a long series. It's the matchups. It's going to be an interesting matchup. It's just going to be a very interesting matchup because Atlanta has a lot of weapons, but then so does the Bucks. And let's be honest, Drew Holiday didn't actually have a great series last series.
Yeah.
I expect them to have a much better series against the Hawks.
Yeah.
So, it's. I don't know if it's going to be a 7-game like classic, like just like what we saw with the Bucks Nets, but it could go 6. But I think the favorite's got to be the Bucks. I think the favorite's got to be the Bucks over the Hawks. I think it could go 6 though. Right.
So do you think we're going to see Milwaukee Phoenix final?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because I said it before that I thought the Phoenix was the best team. I still believe that. I definitely believe they're coming out of the West. Yeah, I think Milwaukee, Phoenix. And then finally, that would be vindication for Giannis because he's been almost there for so long, the last 2 years. And now if he does make the finals, not necessarily win, but just makes the finals, then I think it takes a lot of pressure and a lot of doubters off his back because now he made the finals. But he's got to get there first.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was a wild weekend. It's incredible these days how a 20-point lead doesn't really mean much. 25, 26, 28 doesn't even mean much. Teams can come back. Almost every game, there's, obviously wild swings in momentum and fluctuation, and teams go up 15, 20 points, and the other team roars back. Almost every game we've seen in the last couple weeks has come down right to the end. No matter what, even when a team really dominates at some point.
Yeah, no, those leads don't mean anything just because of the fact of how the guys can shoot the 3-pointers now. Like it just especially with like just the skill level, with the step back and the dribbles and everything else. Like even at one point with the Hawks Sixers, Kevin Huerter made a move where he dribbled it between his legs and he did a step back, and even Charles Barkley, like, woo, see that move? Man, like these cats, these NBA players now are so incredibly skilled, So and when they catch fire, they really catch fire, man. Yeah. And then they're just flamethrowing from deep.
I feel that Seth Curry has the ability to be as dominant as Steph does. He just doesn't get the opportunities. I don't think he gets the minutes. I don't think he gets the screens that he needs. I just think that he's just probably could be just as accurate as Steph, he's fun to watch. He's one of the guys that steps over half court and he can sink the ball from anywhere too.
Yes, he can, and then he had huge games too in that series. I believe he finished with like 60% from behind the line, from behind 3. Like, wow. That's ridiculous. That's amazing. Wow. I think Doc Rivers he's not a dumb man. I think he saw that and be like, all right, well, we're going to have to give him more opportunities. We're going to have to give him more opportunities because the Sixers actually have two flamethrowers back there. They got Seth Curry and they got that guy Korkmaz, who I was super impressed with. I thought that guy played incredibly well, and I think they better keep him around. I hope he's in the contract, but they better keep him around and have those guys just running off just like Steph Curry. They do that, man. I think they'll be running a lot more offense for those two.
No kidding. Yeah, no, he's just so good from behind the arc, and getting 3-pointers, catching up, when they're behind, and I'm super impressed with the outside shooting these days, and no lead safe. Keep watching. I know a lot of people that tune out of games after a bit. They're like, oh, that team's dominating. There's no way, and at the end, it comes down to the last couple of shots, and like we said, some of those series could have turned easily. We could be talking about different teams in these finals very, very easily.
Oh yeah. A couple of those series definitely. Like if the Sixers had, decided to keep leads and stuff, and just give them away, or if the Nets were healthy, like there's a bunch of different things that go into this, right? Actually, even with, I'm actually going to go back to the Jazz too. If the Jazz were healthy, because they were missing their point guard, Mike Conley, and Donovan Mitchell, as the series was going on, it seemed to me like he was getting more hobbled. But at the same time, Jesus, it doesn't make any sense though, because even in the game that they lost, he still had 39 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, right? And he's hurt. He's hurt. So what would that look like if he wasn't hurt?
No shit. Yeah. Incredible, isn't it? Yeah. Just amazing. Yeah, okay. Well, it's going to be a great week ahead for the conference finals. I look forward to seeing how they shake out. But why don't we switch to the UFC? They went back to Vegas this weekend for a fight night, Vegas 29. And the main event had a featherweight battle between the Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung, against Dan 50K Ige. And this was a one-sided affair. The Korean Zombie really showed his dominance in this one. And I didn't. It wasn't close whatsoever. The Zombie was by far the superior fighter.
He beat him in every aspect in that fight. Every aspect, man. Like his head movement was on point. Korean Zombies. His striking was on point. Yeah. Even when he would always catch Ige off guard when he would attack, and he did the perfect takedown. Perfect takedown when he was coming forward, he'd take him down, and then it was just so much more effortless on his takedowns because of just how he caught him just at the right time for that takedown. And then his transitions to the back, and once he got the back, he got the body lock on him. Yeah, and then he was at his mercy. He couldn't do anything to get out of that body lock position. Like once he had his back.
Yeah, no, it was impressive, and he has black belts in judo, taekwondo, and hapkido, and his takedowns. Once he got the lock on him, he went for transition. He tried to get submissions, just kept him down. Really had great strikes. Just full control. Just the entire fight. It's too bad it wasn't a lot closer, but I think the Zombie's just on a different level. Do you think he deserves a title shot now? Came in ranked number 3, and number 4. Sorry, looking like he might be able to go for a title shot fairly soon.
Yeah, he's got to be right there in the consideration because now I know going forward, eventually Holloway's going to be fighting Yair Rodriguez. Can't wait for that fight. Absolutely can't wait for that fight. And then Ortega is eventually going to fight. No, wait. Is it Ortega? Like who's the champion again in that?
Volkanovski.
Volkanovski. So Ortega and Volkanovski going to fight because they're the Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the way I think it's going to play out. Obviously, Volkanovski's going to fight Ortega. I think the winner of the Holloway Yair Rodriguez might get the next shot. Sure. And then maybe Korean Zombie just waits and maybe get another shot after that.
Sure. Okay.
Because I don't right now there's nobody else he can fight because everybody has fights. So I think he just chills out and waits and just see how it all plays out. Because either he fights a top 3 guy or he fights for the belt, and that's it. There's no other fights that he should be taking at this point.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So okay, we talked a little bit about the co-main going in. The veteran Alexei Oleinik, 44 years old, boa constrictor. That was his 76th fight as a pro. 25 years in MMA. This year, November, I think. He'll have his 25th year. Crazy experience. But the polar bear, the younger guy, was able to, get the victory, get the decision win. How did you like this one?
It just seemed like the younger man just had a little bit more juice than the older man. Eventually, at the end of the day, Oleinik's never been known for his stand-up. He uses his stand-up to set up his takedowns, right? Yeah. And then so I was very impressed with how Spivak was keeping the distance or framing off his body to spin off the cage and then go back to the center of the ring. I was super impressed by that. Yeah. But eventually, Oleinik did get him down in certain positions, and I think he had a chance for a submission. I want to say it was in the second when he had the scarf hold, I believe.
Right.
But that was really the end of the round, and he ran out of time. Yeah. And then I believe that was really the only time that he truly threatened to finish the fight with Spivak. Other than that, Spivak was he was the better fighter just by holding him off when he could and when he had to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So the polar bear should take over Oleinik's ranking. Oleinik, the oldest ranked fighter in the UFC at 15. Looks like Spivak will take over that and be the 15th ranked fighter and start facing some pretty tough competition going forward. We'll see if what Oleinik does. 44 years old. Not too many guys can compete anymore at that age. So I'm not sure if that was it for him, but we'll see how things play out. The fight before that, the bantamweight fight between Marlon Chito Vera and Dangerous Davy Grant, was my favorite fight of the night. These guys were battle warriors, huge punches, great kicks, lots and lots of action. Hell of a great fight, and it went to a decision. How did you like this one?
I loved it. I loved the fact that the fight literally flowed everywhere in every conceivable fashion that you could fight a man. That's where this fight went, and it was awesome to see. It was absolutely awesome because I believe after the first round, Chito Vera's corner was just like, "Well, you better pick it up. You're kind of in a fight right now," because he was starting off slow, and they didn't want him to start off that slow. Yeah. And then in the second round, he most certainly picked it up. My goodness, he started to wear away and chip away at the man's will, at Davy Grant's will. Yeah. And he did that with those short in elbow strikes when he was in the clinch. Those started to rear their nasty head a lot more in the second and third round.
Yeah, caught him and
started. And then in the third round, that's when he took it up to yet another level. Yeah. Because there's levels to this game, and the intensity and the way that he fought Davy Grant third, it just showed me just how much he wanted to win this fight in the rematch, in this rubber match. He wanted this fight, I think, a little bit more than Grant, but at the same time, Grant showed amazing heart. Anybody else probably would have been finished at the end there. When he had that choke in, it looked to me, he still fought it off. That was amazing.
That was amazing. Yeah, very incredible. Yeah. I was just trying to see. Oh, okay. Yeah, that did get fight of the night. It got $50K for both guys. I was hoping so. I hadn't actually heard before this moment, but I thought it was, just a hell of a great battle. Chito Vera, man, I love that guy. He's so skilled in so many areas, like you say, and that this fight did go to every possible area that you could fight in mixed martial arts, and yeah, huge victory for Cheeto. So yeah, great to see that. Okay, another one of the performance of the night bonuses went to Choi Sung Woo, another Korean fighter. Two Korean fighters on the card. Woo ended up dropping Erosa and grounded pound KO knockout. Pretty incredible performance by him.
Yo, yes. KO'd him with, I think it was a hard left hook that took him out or knocked him to the ground, and then grounded pound finish. It only took him 1 minute and 37 seconds to get that done. But you could tell within their exchanges who was the more powerful striker, which was by far and away was Choi.
Yeah.
He was definitely very accurate and very deadly with his strikes.
Yeah, his strikes were just so technically sound and just super powerful. I was cheering for Rosa a little bit because he's a Washington State guy here from the West Coast. Yakima he comes from. Nice to see guys from this part of the world do well. But yeah, he was in tough with Wu. Man, amazing knockout. I thought it was stopped a little early, and then I saw Erosa as he was standing up, and he was super wobbly, barely could stand until they got him a chair. So it was a just stoppage, I think.
Yes, it was a very good stoppage because, yeah, once he started to get up, and it took the ref to stabilize him. And when the ref had to stabilize you, good stoppage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, there was a fight between Wellington Turman and Bruno Silva. Silva was fighting his UFC debut. He ended up getting a really big knockout right at the very end of the first round. A great debut and a huge win for him.
Yeah, his ground and pound is utterly devastating and destructive. It's very rare to see a man generate that much power when he's on the ground like that. And once he started hitting him, especially at the end of that round, I'm like, cover up, buddy. Cover up, Herman. You didn't do that. Crack. And then all of a sudden you could see he was seeing stars, and then he put him out.
Yeah.
He put him to sleep. I'm so glad the ref was actually attentive and got in there so that the man didn't actually have to take too much damage after the fact.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah.
Great win by Silva. Great win by Silva.
Yeah, just to be able to generate like power, like you say, and be able to get the knockout punch, just not a lot of wind up. Yeah, he was, yeah, boom, just huge cracks and amazing performance from Silva. Great, yeah, huge knockout, and like I said in his debut. So yeah, I think he'll move into that middleweight picture very quickly. Matt Brown, Diego Lima. Matt Brown, an incredible veteran. He's been around forever and ever. And he also got $50K for a performance of the night. Was able to get a knockout in the second round. And yeah, super impressive. He said, "How's that for 40, bitch?" He was yeah, pretty happy to get his knockout, and great performance there.
I love watching that guy fight because he brings the fight. He wants to brawl. But also too, the reason I really enjoyed watching this fight because you saw two different techniques when it came to kicking.
Right.
Matt Brown attacked the quadricep just above the knee when he kicked, and then Diego Lima was attacking his calf.
Yeah.
But both were eventually getting hobbled as the fight was wearing on.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself, who's going to survive that? I don't know. Well, I guess we had our answer in the second round because also too, another thing that Matt Brown was starting to do in the second round, he's starting to feint, try to draw out those attacks from Lima. And then when he hit him with that overhand right, good night. That's all he wrote.
Yeah.
He knocked him out, and he didn't even try to follow that up because he didn't need to.
That was amazing. Yeah, just super amazing. Yeah, he joined some elite company. That was his 16th win in the UFC. joining the likes of GSP, Neil Magny, Matt Hughes. Most KOs all time. He's tied with Derek Lewis and Vitor Belfort, tied for third of all time with 12 KOs. And the immortal one is still there. Just incredible. Bam, right on the button, and just Lima just dropped right on his face. It was just over. There was nothing more he had to do. I think everybody was stunned and shocked that it was just such a huge, quick KO like that.
Yeah, well, it was stunning, but I was just glad to see it because, like, I want to see more Matt Brown. But for me to want to see more Matt Brown's got to win.
Gotta win. Yeah.
And it was awesome that he did win. So that means I get to see more Matt Brown. So that's awesome. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, we don't have a huge amount of time, but do you want to talk about anything on the prelim cards? Anything standing out for you?
I do want to talk. I just want to point to one of the fights, which was the Jandiroba versus Murata.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is Murata is tough as nails. What the heck was that all about? She literally fought the second round with a dislocated left arm or severely injured or whatever the heck was wrong with that arm because it didn't move. It was completely destroyed. And I give her all the credit in the world. I kind of don't know how the ref didn't notice that because it was kind of just dangling there and it was useless. But I give her all the credit in the world. In that first round where Jandiroba had that arm lock, that arm bar in, that's when you tap. She didn't tap.
Didn't tap. Yeah.
Like,
crazy.
Like when I was watching it, I go, hey, it looks deep. It's not tapping though, so maybe she has a little wiggle room. No, once the second round started, I go, no, she had no wiggle room. Look at the arm.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's just gone. So hey, great win by Jandiroba. For her to win in that fashion, that devastating kind of fashion. But all credit for Murata, man. She was willing to go out there for the third round, just one arm. She didn't care.
Crazy, hey? Yeah. Yeah, we keep talking about these tough men, but yeah, these women are also incredibly tough. They're just not regular human beings. They can withstand an amazing amount of pain and punishment to their bodies and still want to keep going on.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It really is. It's incredible to see when you see that level of will and determination in a fight. Just anything to win. Anything to win.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean there was other fights. We're just running out of time, but Chaos Williams had a decision. Josh Parisian had a real tough battle against Roque Martinez. Got the decision victory. Big knockout win immediately by Rick Glenn over Joaquim Silva. That was a crazy KO. It was 37 seconds into that first round. Just caught him with a stiff left, dropped him, and then just threw a ton of shots as he was on the ground to finish it off. But yeah, anything else you want to mention?
No, just well, going back to the Williams versus Smellsberger fight, I was very impressed with the way that Williams actually, he's a knockout artist, but he kept his composure and he kept his patience, and he fought a very good fight, a very disciplined fight, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to knock this guy out. So kind of kept it back, and it just didn't keep throwing for haymakers.
Very smart.
I thought it was a very smart, disciplined fight.
Yeah. Some of these guys, once they taste a few really quick knockouts, they're just going for blood the whole time, and then when they face stiffer competition where they can't knock them out, they don't know what to do. But you're right, he fought a smart fight and got the victory there. So good on him. Yeah. So we've got another fight coming up the 26th. Fight to look ahead to. Ciro Gane and Alex Volkov are the main event heavyweight battle. And the co-main event has friend Tanner Bozer facing Ovens St. Preux. So let's talk about the first one. What do you think we're going to see in that battle of two titans?
I think you're going to be seeing a very technical stand-up war. Very super technical. But I'm going to throw this out there because he has the ability to do this. I think to switch it up, I think Volkov, you might see some takedowns from Volkov's end against
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we haven't seen Gagne do any of that kind of stuff, and I don't know how he would react to working off his back.
Right.
So I think Volkov might chest him on that. Not just stupid standing up. I think he might take him down too as well. So that's something to look for in that fight.
Yeah. And Tanner Boser got what he wanted. He wanted a quick turnaround to get that Ilir Latifi fight out of his bad taste out of his mouth. He was a late replacement. Gets about a week and a half. I am a little worried just because he was in quarantine. He said he didn't eat well. He just kind of lazed around and hung around for a week, which he always likes to do, having at least a week off. But he was supposed to be quarantined all the way till either yesterday or today. And then this is fight week. So hopefully as soon as he got the call, he was able to get training, get working on it. But that was the only concern I have. Obviously, Tanner's a super talented guy, and I think he can beat almost anybody in this division at some point. But what about you? Was this maybe too quick of a turnaround? He was thinking about July, but he's fighting already in June.
Yeah, it is a very quick turnaround against quite a dangerous opponent. Let's be honest. The OSP is no pushover by any stretch of imagination. I think Tanner definitely has the capabilities and the abilities to win this fight, but I think he's going to have to use his best assets to his advantage, which is his speed, his movement, keeping his distance, and then popping in and out when he can to try to damage and hurt OSP. Yeah. But he's just going to have to be very conscious of OSP's power as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, OSP is, such an athlete. He was really, in college, he was a really good football player, great wrestler, great track and field star. He's had a long career in mixed martial arts. He has been win one, lose one for quite a bit of his career, and he's only had one heavyweight fight. He lost to Ben Rothwell by a split decision. He's fought in the light heavyweight division his whole entire career until just a recent change. I think he was starting to have some troubles making weight at the light heavyweight division. He fought in September 2020 against Rothwell as a heavyweight, and then he fought in this past December, and it was a catchweight fight. St. Preux missed weight, so they made it a catchweight fight. He couldn't get down to 205, and he lost to Jamal Hill. So I don't know. I'm not sure where he's going to walk in at. I don't have in front of me what he walked in at weight-wise for Rothwell, but do you think this is a bit of advantage because Tanner has fought heavyweight his whole entire career, OSP moving up?
I think so. I would definitely have to give the advantage to Tanner because of his previous experience, obviously fighting in the heavyweight division, and now that OSP is possibly officially just moving up and staying there now. Yes, he's fought in the heavyweight division, and he fought one of the baddest guys in the heavyweight division to a split decision, which was Ben Rothwell, which is actually that's pretty significant, and that's very significant. But definitely, I would give the advantage to Tanner Boser, but it doesn't necessarily mean that once they get into the octagon that he'll be the bigger guy. They might be pretty close in weight.
Yeah, they could be, yeah. Tanner weighed in 242 his last fight against Latifi. We'll see where he comes in. He said he was too small the fight before, needed to put on some weight. So, we'll see if he comes in the same or something different. OSP fought John Jones for the light heavyweight title belt April 23rd, 2016. So we're talking a little more than 5 years ago. After that fight, he lost his next two. Then he won 3 in a row. Then he lost, he won, he lost 2 in a row, win, loss, win, loss. So Up and down lately, hasn't been really consistent performer. So we'll see how it goes. But great to see Tanner get his wish. It's always nice that the UFC listens to these guys. He went on Twitter immediately and said, "Give me an immediate fight. I want to fight my last fight of this contract and beat somebody and keep going on. And I want to get this bad taste out of my mouth." I'm throwing that word in there, but he asked for it and he got his wish really quick.
Yeah, I know, and I'm glad that the UFC has gifted him his wish. But his opponent is definitely not a pushover. It's going to be a hard fight, but it's definitely a winnable fight. I just firmly believe as long as he utilizes his best skills, he can definitely win this.
Nice. Yeah, I like that he's there on the card too, because if Gane or Volkov fall off, one of them two, they might move the co-main event up to the main event, or be able to replace one of those guys, and so he might get a shot at main event money. And possibly with OSP, I think he could get a $50K bonus. I think it's going to be could be fight of the night for sure.
Yes, definitely. It could be fight of the night. It has the possibility of doing that. But then again, so does the main event. Depending upon the way that those two fight. Like if they fight too cautious, then it could be a snoozer. But I just have the significant feeling that Volkov won't let it get to that point. I think Volkov, out of the two fighters, will definitely be pushing the pace against Gane.
Yeah. Yeah, so 13 fights on the card. A lot of great fighters. Feely fighting Pineda. That looks like a good one. Tim Means against Dalby. Moicano against Jaw Herbert. Prelims look good. Lots of talented fighters. Timur Valiev is a phenomenal fighter. Up and down. A lot of great fights look to be on this card. So can't wait for next Saturday and can't wait to break it down with you. I did want to mention one thing that I saw with some UFC news. Sean Shirk, the Muscle Shark, used to be a champion in the UFC. He came out this past week and just talked about how brutally underpaid the UFC fighters are. He can't believe how bad the pay is for these guys, and he talked about how much money he got paid throughout his career. He was paid just $35,000 for his title fight against BJ Penn. Penn was paid $250,000 for it, but $35,000 for a title fight. Pretty bad pay there. And he said, his entire career he was super underpaid, and he said it hasn't changed much. This is $7 billion company. And these guys are still getting really, really not enough money for what they're doing.
Why do you think the Fertitta brothers made so much money? Yeah, that's why. Because Dana White is very good at his job. He's very good at suppressing fighter purses. And then that's why he's still there. To be honest, that's why he's still there. It's just to suppress those fighter purses, to make sure that they don't get to exorbitant levels, except for exceptions to that rule, which is Conor McGregor.
Right.
Pretty much it. John Jones has tried to fight the establishment to get himself some more money. I think he's probably aiming a little too high, but at the same time, again, they're not going to give him what they feel that he shouldn't deserve, what he doesn't deserve, right? So, and that's going to continue. That's going to continue until you have another guy that comes along like Conor or something like that can all of a sudden have that bump up in pay to hopefully bring along everybody else to get a bump up in pay.
Yeah. Yeah, he said the UFC should be extremely embarrassed by the fact that their former champions and top-ranked fighters have to go fight YouTube stars with barely any fight experience, and they make 10 times more money than they do in the UFC. He said, I've been retired for 10 years and nothing has changed in the organization. UFC fighters are still some of the worst paid athletes on the biggest stages. Anderson Silva actually was fighting this past weekend. I don't know if you caught any of it, but he upset Julio Chavez Jr. in a boxing match, and he got paid supposedly massive amount of money. And these guys are going to these really strange boxing cards, and they're making just outrageous amounts of money compared to what they do at the UFC. And UFC is a very highly respected, legit organization. But for some reason, YouTube stars are making so much more money than these guys are. It's crazy.
Well, and then also too, again, let's be honest, UFC actually doesn't care. They don't care. What they do care about is making their money, and they don't care about anything else. But with that being said, they should be somewhat embarrassed, because I think even Tyrone Woodley's going to be fighting one of these Pauls coming up here. I think that's what I heard.
Yeah.
He's first fighting that dude that is not a fighter, is not a professional, just an amateur YouTuber that picks up boxing because it's a thing that he likes to do, and he likes to look good. And he's going to make more money doing that than any person that he's ever made in the UFC.
Crazy. Yeah.
Does that make it? When you look at it in that respect, does that make any sense to you? No. Seeing that UFC's on the global stage, it's the epitome of MMA. But these guys have to leave MMA, fight a YouTuber, and make 5 to 8 to 10 times more money than they've ever had in the UFC. You do have to take a look at that and be like, Jesus, maybe it's time I got out of my contract as quickly as possible to start fighting YouTubers so I can make money.
Yeah. Bizarre, huh? Yeah. They said that UFC 263 without Adesanya had 600,000 pay-per-view buys. That was quite a bit down from his previous 2 title defenses. So usually they're getting they're getting about what, $80 a pay-per-view buy. So start doing the math. There's a lot of money to be divvied up. There. The last 2 title fights that Adesanya had was against Costa, 700,000 pay-per-view buys for that one, and 800,000 for his champ fight against Blachowicz. 800,000 pay-per-view buys for that one. So, somebody do the math real quick and realize, wow. Where is all that money going? I know Uncle Dana's taking a lot, but it's going into other people's pockets too. And these are the guys that are putting their lives on the line. Let's pay them more fair. Let's just make it more fair. Just more fair. That's it. That's all they want. Just more fair.
Absolutely. Because sometimes, like especially this year, we've been privy to some egregious injuries to these guys. So first off, I'll say this. Thank goodness that the UFC actually has a health insurance policy for their fighters. All right. Yeah. So they do take care of them in that respect. But financially, monetarily, they could take care of them a little bit better. Let's say, for example, like the $50,000 bonuses. I think actually whoever made that recommendation to Dana White to bring it up to 75,000, I think that was
Max Holloway. I believe it was either Max Holloway or Tony Ferguson. That was Tony Ferguson.
That actually did that. That actually should just be a thing.
Yeah.
That shouldn't just be a one-off thing. That should just be a thing of a 75,000. Yeah. That's where that actually should be. Sure. But again, they're not in there to not make money. Yeah. They had to spend like $4 to $5 billion, and they're still paying that off. I understand that. I understand the economics of that. But eventually, at some point in time, these guys are going to start just leaving and going to other organizations that are willing to pay them more, because there are other organizations out there that do have money. They're not the only game in town. I think you're going to start seeing that more and more.
Yeah, it's tough. It's too bad. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen, but you got to feed your family. You got to look at your legacy. You only have a short time span in a mixed martial arts career. Typically, they're not getting into the UFC until they're mid to late 20s. They're done for sure by 40, typically. So you might have a 10-year lifespan. You're fighting once or twice a year, sometimes 3 times, but most guys are fighting once or twice a year. It's yeah, these guys aren't going to have a great life post fight career because they're just not making the money that they should as professional athletes, top of their game.
Yeah, because not everybody is Conor McGregor. Not everybody actually is that fortunate or has the financial weight now behind them to look at the UFC and go, "Oh no, you kind of want me to fight. You're gonna
Yeah,
make a lot of money if I do fight." So if you're gonna make a lot of money, that means I'm gonna make a lot of
yeah,
money.
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I do like that they split the pay-per-view buys with some of the top guys, but I think that should filter down and help out a lot of this smaller guys on the prelims and throughout the card. I don't think it should just be the top two guys because they're already possibly making millions. But anyway, discussion more of a discussion for a later time. No basketball games on this evening, but tomorrow Phoenix plays their game 2 against LA, and they also have the NBA draft lottery to watch for. So always kind of interesting and fun to see who's going to be picking where. And yeah, as I said, huge week ahead for the NBA, and lots to look forward to for next weekend's UFC card.
Yeah, I can't wait to start watching the Eastern Conference Finals with the Bucks and the Hawks. I'm kind of interested to see exactly what their offenses and defensive schemes and strategies are going to be for both teams. And then also too, I'm looking forward to seeing more awesome shooting performances and passing and everything else from Devon Booker as he leads his Suns in a victory over the Clippers. I'm actually even going to give a Charles Barkley guarantee.
Yeah.
Suns win.
What was the deal with the ping pong balls? I never really understood why they were coming down, raining down on them. Did you see the ping pong balls falling on their head this weekend?
Yes, I did. You know what? I think they're just like, we're just going to try different stuff. We're just going to do stuff. And so the ping pong balls were a thing.
Did you see the little tiny hard hat on Charles' head? He's like, I got a big head. What am I gonna say? It was just this little beanie cap that was on the top. He didn't. I don't think he ever put on a hard hat in his life because he didn't open it up as far as he did. Because I think later on I saw it farther down on its head.
Yeah, it looked good on him because he got a big head. Apparently, what he did say, he's like, I got a big brain in there. And I'm like, And then I think Ernie Johnson said, no, there's more brains in that hat than it is in your head.
Nice
Boom.
move. Nice.
And that's why I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, those guys are so great. It's so great. It's so great to be able to watch them on a nightly basis or a semi-nightly basis. I wish they had all the playoffs. ESPN's got the West and TNT's got the East, so we're only seeing them every second night now. But we've been really blessed over the past 2 3 weeks. We've been seeing them almost every night. It's been great.
No, it's been awesome. And I just look forward to seeing more of these guys. And also, too, I want to point this out. I'm actually quite enjoying the journey with Marv Albert since this is his last bit of broadcasting and then he's retiring. And he deservedly so. He's given all of us so many great moments with his commentating and stuff. And I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss that familiar voice that I'm so familiar with over the decades that he's done it.
I know.
And happy trails to him. And I hope that he enjoys the heck out of his retirement because it's well earned.
One of the greatest voices in sports, and especially basketball. You think back to all the great calls he's had, and yeah, it's sad. It's sad when these guys finally decide to hang him up and move off into retirement. But yeah, I'm glad he's getting his due. I'm glad people are telling him how loved he is, and being able to celebrate him. One of the greatest announcers in the history of sports, and yeah, I mean, I can think of just dozens of great calls that he's had over the years.
Yeah, me too. I can think of so many, but at the end of the day, he'll be sorely missed. I'm gonna miss that iconic voice of his that I've heard for just so long. So But happy trails to him, and I just wish him nothing but the best because it's a
Oh,
retirement well earned.
true. Yeah. Good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, man, this was fun as usual. Awesome way to wrap up the weekend. Thanks so much. Enjoy the weather. This is going to be a phenomenal week for great weather around here, and lots of sports to talk about next week. So yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, anytime, my friend, anytime. And yes, I'm going to go out there and enjoy the weather right now. All right.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, cheers. Bye for now.
Bye bye for now.
Okay, that puts a wrap on our show. I want to thank our partners and sponsors before we go. Let's go here. Boom. Okay, there we go. Anchor has been a great partner and sponsor for Complete Sports Media. They've been fantastic at posting on multiple podcast platforms. Just go to anchor.fm and you can do what Jason and I just did. Have your own podcast. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And as always, the V350 stick is a must for any hockey player in your family. Pampas and Possibilities, they design and sell dried florals, do floral arrangements, and installations. Check them out. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company. They grow and manufacture aloe vera based products for health and beauty. So thank you so much to our partners and sponsors as always. Appreciate the support and thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did doing it. Great to break down the basketball and the UFC, mixed martial arts. Anyway, yeah, enjoy the great weather out there. Enjoy the basketball, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care of yourself. Love you lots. Bye for now.